So hello and welcome everybody to Merlini's Mailbag episode 6. And this week I actually got two questions from the same guy that I thought were both pretty good. So the first one has to do with pseudo random distribution, also known as PRD. Hi Merlini, the first question I have is about your opinion on pseudo random chance and abilities/items. Entangle, Chaos Bolt, Multicast, etc. all are pretty much a guaranteed source of rage due to a feeling of being screwed by the RNG on both the receiving and on the delivering end. Now, obviously, there is always some perceptive bias involved. I never get as many entangles as Admiral Bulldog because only the unfairness on either side of the RNG sticks to memory. But I personally believe that such mechanics are, generally speaking, not very fun and should not be introduced further and or be reworked wherever/if possible. CK would be tricky due to the randomness being pretty much his flavor. His name is Chaos Knight, and I am left wondering about the opinion on that topic from a former professional player, where I would assume that a deterministic outcome of any action would be appreciated. So a little bit of mechanic information for those of you that are unfamiliar with the pseudo-random distribution. For most critical strikes, evasions, and bashes, I actually picked bad examples because like Faceless Void's backtrack's not like a true evasion, and Chaos Knight's stun is not really pseudo RNG either. But for most of them, they're actually pseudo RNG, and this means that it's actually not a strict 10% chance of critical. How it actually works is that you have like a smaller chance, like let's say like 6%, and it keeps adding. If you don't crit, it adds a % chance each time until you do crit, and then it resets the counter. And this actually has the effect of being a less like gimmicky / chancy model, and you get more even distributions, but at the same time you can't crit. If you can't crit multiple, you have less chance of critting multiple times in a row, and this means that if you don't crit for a few times, you have a higher chance of critting. And I think that this PRD is actually a little bit better than the other one, especially with such low chance skills, such as Chaos Strike, which is 10%. A lot of the other ones are like 25-ish area, Backtrack, Blur's like 32, and a couple of other ones. But for other skills, there are like regular crit, bashes, and evasions. Like I think Time Log's not triggered, as well as Chaos Knight's Chaos Strike, but there are triggered skills like Chaos Bolt and Multicast and Backtrack, and these all do not have PRD. And this is important because this is actually a relic from Dota 1, because they're all triggered skills and they didn't have to go off Warcraft 3's chance model. So what this means is that if I like keep stunning Roshan, oops, go to WTF, then I have like a higher chance of getting like 4-second stuns in a row than if I were to use the other distribution. And same with like Multicast. And let's see, I can't even get any 4. Anyways, and same with bashes and time locks. And this creates like a more fair environment, I think. And there aren't too many like chancy skills in the game. There's a couple that are like quote unquote like overpowered, like Entangle and Chaos Bolt, but for the most part, most of the heroes don't have that much randomness attributed to them. Even the base damage for heroes, it used to be pretty like gimmicky, I guess, and pretty wide range. But if you notice Faceless Voids, the 147 is actually an average, and if you hover over the attack damage, you'll see 144 to 150, which is pretty small range. You only have a variation of 6, and Ogre has pretty small variation too. 135 to 141 is also a variation of 6. Some heroes have more, some heroes have less. Chaos Knight actually has one of the biggest ranges because that is his element after all. So he has 138 to 168. But all of these, it doesn't really make too big of a difference, at least from my experiences of playing many games of Dota 1. Compare this to like a Mace stun mechanic in WoW. If any of you guys ever played WoW and PvP'd a lot, like the Warrior Mace stuns was just incredibly broken, and Blizzard actually took that out of the game because it was that broken. Or like they have like a couple % chance to miss too. Some skills will give you like 2 to 4% chance to miss, and you'd be like, well, I just got like 1 out of 50 chance or 1 out of 25 chance, and sometimes it just costs you the fight. But you don't really have anything that low probability in Dota, although you do have Rune Luck, but Rune Luck's just part of the game, and it's fair for both sides, so it's not too broken. I think I'm pretty fine with the way it is, and I don't think that Ice Frog should introduce that much more, and he hasn't. I mean, there's not too many. Again, there's maybe like 5 or 10 heroes with innate trigger skills like that are RNG based. But if you do have to complain about it, I always just say RNGG'd when I just get owned by complete luck. So on to the next question. I have WTF mode on, so Roshan just like slams constantly. Next question is about pausing and pause abuse. The other question is about pause and its abuse, especially when that occurs in competitive play. I've long had the feeling that the relatively frequent lag, or uncommented pauses has some degree of less than sportsmanlike conduct behind them, but I didn't think too much of it until I was made aware of this play by Puppy. And he links a match ID and he talks about it. And after that, do you think that this should remain fair game or not? And if not, should it be dealt with by the tournament organizers or by Valve? So I'm going to actually go to the match that he talked about and fast forward to that point. So you can actually pause. It's instant. It's F9 for those who don't actually know the hotkey, and it's the same hotkey to unpause, although there will be a little bit of delay if if you aren't on the team of the guy who paused. So let me fast forward. I think it's around 39 minutes. I'll start a little bit before. So what happens here is like a tactical pause, I believe. I mean, there is a slight off chance that it could be Puppy was lagging, but I highly doubt it. So I'll keep the camera on Puppy for a little bit. There are a couple things about Han that I actually thought were good, even though I didn't really like the game in general. One thing that I thought they did well was the pause system. When you press pause, I think it counts down like 3, 2, 1, and then pause. So any time you pause, there's like a 3-second delay. So this makes it a little bit more difficult for tactical pauses, as well as tactical buying. And this is actually pretty important in pubs. I've seen it done a couple of times, and it's generally considered very bad manner to do so. So what happens is you're like getting ganked, and then you're getting ganked, and what happens is that, like, let me fast forward to what happens is that they okay, I found the point. What happens is, like, as soon as you get ganked and you notice a gank coming, you pause the game, and then what you do is you like open up the shop. You say, okay, I want to buy a Manta style or buy my Yasha because I have 1600 unreliable gold. I'll buy my Blade of Alacrity and my Yasha recipe, so I won't lose any gold when I die. So what they'll do is they'll shift click to quick buy their Yasha, and then right before they'll die, they'll buy their Blade of Alacrity and they'll buy their Yasha. And normally you wouldn't do that because you're like busy panicking, busy popping your cooldowns, busy seeing if your team's around, busy trying to dodge stuns, and just all this other stuff like while you're dying. But if you have the tactical pause, you can like evaluate the situation more clearly and be like, well, I'm definitely dead. I might as well spend my money so I minimize what I lose from this death. And I don't think that should be allowed. Maybe with a 3-2-1 implementation, it won't happen as much. But still, I don't think that's very fair, and it is very bad manner to do so. I don't see it done that often, but I don't like it when it does. Another thing is tactical pauses. So if we watch here, I'm gonna pull up this shop. So Havos is standing right here, and he's actually scouted out by an NA, and they do not have any sentries or obs. They have no idea that he's right here, and whereas Team Redefining Madness knows that he's right here and he's lined up for a perfect shackle. So a couple seconds progress, and Peppichek actually shoots a shackle, and then immediately Chen pauses while the shackle's flying into the air, while this NA is like about to engage on them. So clearly they see this coming. You can see the projectile in the air, and this is probably a tactical pause. Bat's like not even in blink range of any of the important heroes. He can probably get Nyx if he sees them, but they don't have a sentry ward, so he should be able to Vendetta and pop his combo before Bat can react. Chen's pretty far away. His heals on cooldown. He can't really do anything. Light of Heaven's already way back in the base, so it's pretty much just up to Dendi and Avos to not die right now. But Dendi is Panda with a blink with his ult on cooldown, and it's looking very bad for Havos right now. This is a tactical pause, and I definitely do think that, oh shit, there's a shackle, in Russian of course, and they're trying to like plan out what to do right now. And it's not like he has a force staff or anything, but like they can like plan this out perfectly, and it's ridiculous what happens after this, because if you just look at it from like before the pause, it definitely looked like, okay, Havos is going to get shackled and then Vendetta, Impaled, Mana Burn. But if you look at what actually happens, spoiler alert, they completely turn his fight around. Which is a little absurd, especially in a competitive game. So I don't know how long this pause is, but the clock is ticking down. Okay, they say G. G says puppy. Look at this ridiculousness that ensues. I'm gonna watch it at half speed. Okay, so he drops a sentry. He gets fucking force-stabbed by this guy. He dodges 2 stuns, and then he blinks in. That's like 2 seconds. And Havos ends up living. This guy gets hex fingered and ultied, and it actually becomes 1-0 in favor of Na'Vi instead of for MTW. And this is pretty clear-cut case of pause abuse, unless Puppy happened to be lagging at that time. But I definitely don't think that this should be allowed. And this clearly, like, you know, turned the fight around. Nyx is dead instead of a lion, and that's really big deal. They don't have any other ults off cooldown except for Lasso and Finger, and the big ultimates, Hand of God and Primal Split, are still down, and they still managed to win the fight even with the what looked like a really good initiation. So that's just a little bit broken, and I think it could be circumvented by changing how the pause works. So let's see. So tactical pause. There's also the bad mannered pause. That's like a little bit more annoying, and doesn't really affect gameplay that much. It's just annoying in pubs. And there's like the tactical pause, which we saw right here, and then there's like the buyout pause, which is a form of tactical pause, I guess. But I guess 2 of the 3 can be circumvented by implementing like a 3-2-1 delay, and the bad manner pause. People are going to be bad mannered no matter what, so I don't really think that will cut down on anything. But that's just my opinion on it. I think something about it needs to change, so something ridiculous doesn't happen like this, especially in a tournament game. This is a raid call DTO game between Redefining Madness and Na'Vi. But that's it for this week's mailbag. Thanks everybody for watching. Again, if you have any questions, please email me at mailbag@merlinidota.com. I select a few, and I do this every week at Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Central Time. And if you have general questions, comments, or concerns, just email me at merlini@merlinidota.com. Thanks everybody for watching.